Before we introduce our guests, to all our listeners and everybody who phone in to say, God be with you, and then phone in today. And we got regular ones that phone in.
Yeah.
So I hope they phone in. And our little friend,
Nimana.
Yes.
We'd like to say thank you to Nimana for our posters and advert. Apparently it's in the editing process, Nimana. So we're hoping that our advert will be played on the radio very soon. So thank you again for that.
Yeah, and she supports us as well. So I'm going to leave you, Anne-Marine, to introduce our guest, to give you
as
the
usual. She finds the guest people and leaves it to me.
This is what I call the Happy Empathy Hour, isn't it?
Yeah, and we thank Councillor Eunice Campbell for changing the name to Happy Empathy Hour. And actually, it's made me happier as well, Pam.
Oh, that's good. And I hope Jacqueline is going to enjoy the show today as well.
Definitely. So we'd like to welcome our guest today, Jacqueline Lockhart, who's a community engagement specialist. I'm just going to read a bit about Jacqueline before we hand over the mic to her.
Right, okay.
Is that all right, Jacqueline?
Yeah, that's okay.
Welcome to the show anyway.
I'm very intrigued with what you're going to say. Thank you. It's lovely
well,
to
this
see
is
you
what
both.
I was sent, a biography about you. So
okay.
Correct me if we are wrong. Jacqueline has over 35 years of experience of working in the voluntary and community and youth sectors. She worked in the public sector for 35 years in a variety of roles, including community and organisational development, including training management. She also managed regeneration programmes and projects and developed community and school partnerships. And it goes on to say she led the strategy of parents and carers in Nottingham during the implementation of Every Child Matters and developed resources for families at the former Department of Children, Families and Schools, helping shape the National Outcomes Framework. She's an accredited sector specialist for working with children and families. And the final paragraph, which I'm going to read and which is quite important related to our show today, Jacqueline chairs the community-based Ending Youth Violence Network and the Rainbow's Parents and Carers Forum for families of children with disabilities. She also represents the PCF at local, regional and national levels. Jacqueline, what is the PCF?
So the PCF stands for the Parent Carers Forum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay. She has facilitated a young people's partnership network, and she is committed to tackling structural inequalities that led to poorer outcomes for children, young people and families. Well, Jacqueline, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Amazing work that you've done over the past 35 years in the community. And you do ring a bell because I used to work in community development and youth work as well. So you're quite, the name is familiar and the face is becoming familiar to me as well.
There we go.
Welcome again, and hopefully today actually we're talking about knife crime.
We are, yes.
Because
specifically
Jacqueline is from the VRU, and she's
the VRU
is the Violence Reduction Unit for it's Nottingham City and Nottinghamshire.
Okay, so this is another thing that you're doing as well.
Yes, so that biography is on our webpage for the VRU, and it's just to introduce each of the team members, and so that's why it's there. But that's my work at the moment, so I'm the Community Engagement Specialist for the Violence Reduction Unit.
Okay, fantastic.
And it's working alongside with Nottinghamshire Police.
Yes, so it's chaired by Paddy Tippin, who I think you've had on the show, who's the Police and Crime Commissioner. That's right. But it's the VRU, if you want me to say a few words about that, is actually a partnership.
Okay.
So you've got the community safety partnerships. You've got Safer Nottinghamshire Wellbeing Boards. You've got further education colleges, and of course you've got community representation as well.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
So is this the ambassador work that you're doing, Pam, as well?
I'll let Jacqueline explain that to you.
Yes,
please.
Yeah. So a big part of our work is community engagement and community consensus, because nothing we didn't do in the VRU would mean anything if we didn't bring the community and the community be central to everything that we do. So what we wanted to do was identify community champions. So that's we've got some young ambassadors, we've got some community ambassadors who have got a lot of very, very valuable experience, some from organisations and some as individuals that we think can bring strengths. And so one of our community ambassadors is your very own Pam.
Ta-da! Drum roll.
There you go.
Oh, thank you for that. I did keep that a secret, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah,
you
but
did.
actually we need you to be shouting that from the rooftops, don't we? Because the whole point of this is for people to know who the ambassadors are, and to connect with you about the issues that that concern them. Yes.
So maybe we should interview you, Pam, one day.
And most definitely, yeah. Should I?
On behalf of
the VRU Ambassador
Yes,
Post.
yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
What do you think?
Yeah, and perhaps get a couple of others in there as well, that community ambassadors.
I
so.
think we've got another show coming on, Pam. But
Most
anyway,
definitely,
coming
yeah.
back to today's show,
Yes.
we're talking about knife crime. Pam,
Yes.
would you like to lead the questioning?
With before the lockdown, knife crime was on the increase, and then everything seemed to go AWOL as well. Since the lockdown, knife crime is literally on the rise again.
It's always a very tricky question, this one, isn't it? Because we all know within our communities, we know about really serious incidents that have happened and young people who've lost their lives and families who've lost the young person. But when we look at serious violence for the VRU, we look at it, over a wide area. And in actual fact, even before the lockdown, the amount of incidents was reducing.
Yeah.
So overall, it's reducing, but obviously, it's still an issue, and it's still a big concern for us. So we still need to be very, very focused on what we do about that. Lockdown and COVID has reduced again the amount of incidents. So I've just been looking at this. So that's, one positive thing, but we are very concerned around some of the grooming of young people that's taking place to get them involved in criminality. So, that hasn't stopped happening whilst we've been locked down, unfortunately.
So how are we as a community leaders and organisation would able to support you and put something into place?
So I think a lot of the time the community have got the answers. When you talk to communities, they know. We do a lot at the VRU. There's a lot of conversation with communities. As you know, I chair the Ending Youth Violence Networks. There's a lot of community-based organisations who are working directly with young people. So we get information about, what's lacking, what's missing. At the moment, we're doing a community assets assessment that's going across the whole of Nottinghamshire into the hotspot areas. And we're asking service providers and local people there about what their view is of the causes of knife crime. So what I should explain that, because we take a public health approach. So we're not just looking at, there might be an incident that sparks and it's because two people are having a disagreement. But in actual fact, there are things behind that. So it could be that young people are out on the street because they've been excluded from school. It could be that their family's in very difficult circumstances. Yeah. So part of the VRU's role is to really understand what's going on, and really drill down into the information and the data to find out what it's like for young people, their families and the communities that they're from. And the other thing is in terms of the assets assessment we're doing, the evidence has said that in terms of reducing all health inequalities, you need connected and resilient communities. So that's what we're focused on as well. So, where communities are strong, you don't get so many problems. So it's for us as communities to say what it is that we need to strengthen what we do. And I love to hear community voices in that. I hear a lot of service provider voices, and it's so good to hear from communities as well.
Sorry, Pam.
Yeah, when I talk to young kids, because where I live, I seem to see a group of young kids, and when I talk to them, they're either from different areas. So you get some from St. Anne's, you get some from Broxter, and it's like a territory type of thing.
Yes.
And
yes.
they got